Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In this video, we will present the controversies surrounding Tawarruq in Islamic banking. Together with my teammate, we have identified several issues related to the practice of Tawarruq.
In this presentation, we'll present 5 main things for the topics. First, for the introduction, we'll explain briefly what Tawarruq and why the contract was widely used by every Islamic banking institutions around the globe. Secondly, we'll explain the Tawarruq concept better to make people become more clear about the topic in general. Next, in Tawarruq issues, we'll discuss why it has become such a big issue as time passed by. Fast forward, we'll move on to examine the concept of Tawarruq from Sharia perspective. Last but not least, we'll give out the conclusion that we've thrown together after discussing all the issues in Tawarruq. To start, Tawarruq is a Sharia-compliant financial tool in Islamic banking that allows individuals or corporations to obtain cash liquidity without interest by purchasing a commodity on a deferred payment basis and then selling it for cash to a third party. As for the objective of the presentation, we chose this topic to ensure the viewers understand why Tawarruq became such a controversial issue in Islamic banking and to help them understand Tawarruq better. Now, we'll discuss why Tawarruq is important and why it was widely used in Islamic banking institutions. First, liquidity management. By using Tawarruq contract, it would provide the customers a way to earn a quick cash without violating any Sharia rules. After that, low risk for banks. The contract is considered as a low risk for banks because it has a fixed and predictable profit for them. For example, the bank would still gain a fixed income every month because the customer has made a deferred payment agreement with them. Not only that, the customers would also be able to get fast approval from the banks if they chose Tawarruq as their financial instrument. This is because Tawarruq was known as the most common Islamic financial product. Hence, the bank would already have fixed procedures, documents, and risk controls for the contract. Last but not least, it is because Tawarruq is a stable profit-sharing contract between the bank, the customer, and the buyer.
Understanding of Tawarruq. First is about concept Tawarruq. The term Tawarruq comes from the Arabic word warik or waraka, which means silver money, dirham, or metal coins. Historically, it was used to obtain silver, dirham, or metal coins as a medium of value. In fact, the word al-warik is mentioned in the Al-Quran in Surah Al-Kahfi verse 18-19, referring to silver money. Linguistically, Tawarruq means requesting money, which could be in silver, gold, or paper money. From a fixed perspective, Tawarruq is a method where a person buys an asset on deferred payment and then sells it for cash to a third party. Importantly, the buyer doesn't intend to use the asset, so the main purpose is just to obtain liquidity, which in cash. According to Sharia bodies, firstly, DOIC Fiqh Academic defines Tawarruq as purchasing on credit and then selling for cash at a lower price. Secondly, AAOIFI defines it as a deferred purchase of a commodity via buy or murabahah then selling for cash to a third party, not the original seller. The Fiqh Encyclopedia of Quds give a similar definition. Now let's look at how Tawarruq works. It involves 2 main steps. Step 1, purchase on credit. The customer buys a commodity from a seller, usually via a murabahah contract. Payment is deferred, meaning the customer can pay later, but according to Sharia, the customer legally owns the commodity. Step 2, sell for cash to a third party. The customer sells the commodity to another buyer for cash, usually slightly lower than the original deferred price. This way, the customer receives immediate cash and the bank earns a murabahah profit. For example, a customer buys a commodity for Rm 10,000 on credit and sells it for Rm 9,600 cash to get immediate liquidity. Next, why Islamic banks use Tawarruq? First, it provides liquidity. Tawarruq allows banks to provide cash financing to customers while remaining compliant with Sharia. Second, it offers fixed income instrument. Banks earn stable profit through the murabahah profit rate, similar to conventional fixed income but within a Sharia framework. Third, it diversifies Islamic banking products. The main goal is to compete with conventional banking products while staying within Sharia rules. Tawarruq is used in personal financing, home financing, Islamic credit cards, deposit products, and corporate financing.
The controversy of Tawarruq overuse in Islamic banking Malaysia. As we can see here, this is the trend and composition of Tawarruq and other Sharia contract by key product segment of Islamic bank as at 31 December 2022. The diagram clearly shows that Tawarruq is used far more than any other Syariah contract in Malaysia Islamic Bank, especially in financing, deposit and investment account. The red bars presenting Tawarruq are consistently the highest almost all years, while contracts like Musyarakah, Ijarah and Court remain very low. This proved the overuse of Tawarruq, leading to the concern that Islamic banking is becoming too dependent on Tawarruq.
In 2020, Tawarruq made up 46% of Malaysia Islamic financing portfolio in the industry. However, its widespread raises several concerns, which is commodity issue. Commodities may exist only on paper or low-value items that don't represent real trading. Second, no real economic value. Transactions mainly to generate cash without contributing to business activity. Thirdly, high debt creation. Excessive Tawarruq leads to an economy filled with debt-based financing, contrary to Islamic preference for risk sharing. Lastly, Sharia doubts. Overuse of Tawarruq may seem like interest, riba. To prevent this problem, scholars suggest diversifying financing methods and promoting non-commodity contracts.
For the second controversy is the issue of commodity existence in Tawarruq. This issue happened when the essential element of Sharia, such as existence, ownership and transfer of right to the traded product, are not met. As we can see nowadays, the commodity of Tawarruq transaction only exists on a paper or in a system record only. And this improper contract structure can lead to the invalid status of Tawarruq transaction, particularly when the commodity is defined in this contract with no proof of actual reality. This behavior can lead to the uncertainty gharar caused by the absence of the actual item, make the contract invalid and fails. It is because the condition for buying and selling in Islam are that the goods must exist and be in the real possession. If the goods are just paper or certificate, the sale and purchases contract does not meet the original in Islamic fiqh. Tawarruq here categorized as muamalat transaction that does not fulfill with Sharia compliant. What are the guidelines to prevent this issue are to ensure actual ownership and make sure the commodity exists before entering into Tawarruq transaction.
Tawarruq issue is modern Tawarruq resembles an interest-bearing loan because in many cases the commodity transaction is only done on paper. Also, technically it follows the structure of buying and selling. The process often lacks true asset ownership and physical transfer. Everything is automated and complete within seconds through electronic platform, making it appear as a legal stratagem to access cash rather than a genuine trade. As a result, it may fail to fulfill the higher objective of Sharia, such as promoting fairness, real economic activities, and preventing exploitation. Next is principles supporting in Tawarruq. First, sale is permissible. In Islam, buying and selling are naturally allowed activities. Since Tawarruq involves sale contract, the basic ruling is the permissibility unless shown otherwise. And number 2, avoid riba. Tawarruq is designed to provide cash without involving interest. The profit the bank earn come from a sale price, not from lending money at interest. And lastly, muamalat are allowed unless prohibited. Islamic law states that all commercial transactions are permissible unless there is clear evidence that they are forbidden. This principle supports the permissibility of Tawarruq. And next, which is principle leading to critique. Firstly, must avoid hidden riba. Even if no explicit interest is charged, a transaction may still contain riba in disputes if the profit mechanism resembles an interest-based loan. Second, must avoid legal tricks. Transaction must not be structured merely to mimic Sharia compliance while achieving the same effect as an interest-bearing loan. Third, requires real ownership and transfer. Sharia requires genuine possession and real transfer of asset. If the commodity never truly change hands, the sale becomes questionable. And lastly, should achieve maqasid. A valid Sharia transaction should promote economic justice, transparency, and real trade. If tawarruq is used merely to obtain cash without real economic activity, it may fail to meet this objective. And next, lastly, why tawarruq is approved and permissible. First, it is a sale transaction, not an interest-based loan. The structure involves two valid sale contracts. Since the bank sells a commodity at a profit price and the customer sells it to a third party for cash, it is not classified as a loan. Number two, based on the FIC principle, all transactions are permissible unless proven otherwise. Unless clear evidence show that tawarruq violates Sharia, its default ruling remains permissible. And lastly, there is ownership transfer. The commodity is considered to be legally owned by the customer before it is sold to the third party, fulfilling the Sharia requirement of possession.
In conclusion, tawarruq is a Sharia-compliant method that enables individuals to access cash more quickly through a structured commodity sale. Even though it is Sharia-compliant, in practice it often looks like conventional interest-based loan. While it looks similar, its foundation is based on buying and selling, not riba. However, the overuse of tawarruq and doubts about the actual existence of the commodity raise serious concern among scholars. Tawarruq must remain Sharia compliant and the transaction must remain genuine, transparent and truly documented. This shows that while tawarruq provides liquidity, it also challenges the true objective of Islamic finance.